company's got an amazing history. It was founded in 1987 by Roy Puffett. Roy was a service engineer with General Motors, EMD. Their loco building plant was in Port Elizabeth. They built half the Transnet fleet out of PE. Once they had, Southern Africa had stopped ordering new locomotives, GM, EMD decided, they're going to go back to Chicago. And Roy decided he wanted to stay on and service, many of those non-government kind of loco owners that were in the region. So essentially, it was at the heart of the foundation is technical. Much of our expertise is in part technical. As you started going out and building the technical competence of the organization, meeting various of the clients, many of them felt, we don't really want to own these locomotives. So the company then started buying many of those locos back and entering some kind of sale and lease back kind of structure where many of the drivers and the technicians would come on board. The locos would essentially get a refurb, repaint, but carry on doing the job that they were doing all the time. That then grew from the technical expertise, it became operational. Then over time, and around about the year 2000, I joined by then, we decided, to look further north. And we started exploring options in Africa. There were various needs. Many of the parastatals needed some kind of support. And the business just started growing and growing and growing. And today, somewhere around 51 locomotives, 200 wagons. And from a fairly small beginning, I'd like to believe that we at least, one of the standard setters in the private sector mainline kind of railway operators. We know that many do look to us and say, well, they're a good model. I think we're proud of our history, proud of, where we've come from to what it is today. I think we've had the privilege of almost doing the same thing for such a long time. We haven't really branched into IT or making soda or something like that. We've stuck to big, large capital items, running trains well, learning from our mistakes, and hopefully we'll learn from our mistakes going forward. And today, to talk a little bit about some of the services we currently do provide. We essentially manage and operate over 100 locomotives, over 650 wagons across Southern Africa and into some parts of further north. But yet at the heart is still, technical. So we've developed and acquired Roslyn, 50,000 squares and 7,000 squares under roofing. The company has essentially matured, over the years in a lot of activities that it started out small with. It's really just gained in maturity. So we operate on closed siding operations in the mining industry, in the industrial sector. We operate mainline operations further north. So there's very little we don't find ourselves doing. Rail is such an integral part of Africa. And many depend on railways. Just an example, many of the settlements in Africa are along the railway line. So it's so key to development. It's so key to, the confidence in countries. It's so key to prosperity. It's so key to making things work. It's fascinating to actually be in an industry that it might have a slight image of being fairly slow, but it's actually it makes a huge difference to the lives of many who depend on it. So, I've touched on that technical, I've touched on operations. We also have an advisory arm that looks at health and safety. It looks at some kind of ISO. So we tend to speak to people that need rail tailored kind of ISO or health and safety kind of solutions, and we do that very well. I mean, we've got wealth of experience in the people that carry out those functions in an organization. And I would say also, training is so important. What training does is, it just allows us to continue being in an industry of learning, being in an organization that is seeking to improve, is seeking to invest in people, it's seeking to invest in other organizations' people. Training, advisory, operations, technical are essentially the four bastions or the four key elements of some of the services we offer. No organization really is anything without the quality of its people. We're a mature organization, and a mature organization needs mature people that have been with the organization for a long time, who understand the business, they understand the heart of the business, they understand the DNA of the business. The executive of the organization has a combined 160 years of rail experience, an average of 13 years with Traction itself. It's a team that understands the industry, that they work well together, which I think is very, very important. We enjoy being with each other, and it just sets a good example. If you've got to add in the other line managers and other managers, they've got a combined 450 years with Traction. They arrive, they learn, they stay, they influence others. They work with the younger guys coming through. It's what I like about, I suppose, the organization, but I suppose it's the industry in general. It's still, there's a lot of respect with people in the industry, and I've noticed that you've got young guys still calling guys 15 years their senior oom and uncle, and I think it's very healthy. I think the reason why they do that is because they realize that experience in our game, experience and skills trumps just skill. I often wonder, what do we need to do as leadership for keeping the staff? Why do they stay? Why are they so loyal to our organization? And I think it boils down to a couple of thoughts. We've got to create an organization where you care for each other, you listen to each other, you grow together, you invest in the new generation coming through. If the staff and the employees don't believe that they're being heard, can't grow in an organization, I think they will find somewhere else where they can go. And we've been very fortunate. And I think what we've done right is we've created an environment where there is opportunity. There is hope for future development. We move quite quickly in various jurisdictions, and it creates an atmosphere where somebody coming in realizes, yes, I can be here for a long time, but I can experience a lot while I'm learning, while I'm maturing in an organization. People are very important to us, and in our organization, I think there is a huge spectrum of various qualifications, of races, of genders. And, you've got to celebrate each other's differences. I think we've got to learn to enjoy each other more and more. And as that happens, I think the organization is definitely stronger for it. To be in your 33rd year in an industry that transcends a whole bunch of stuff, I think it's testimony to what the organization has been able to create. And yet, at the same time, provide hope and confidence for the majority of us employees to want to be part of something going forward. And so, yes, we've got this amazing history, but I think we have the ability to do something really special going forward.